Hello everybody, it's Claire Daly, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And today for you, I have got this Celebrate Sunflowers card, and I wanted to show you the technique that I used to create the sunflower background. This is from the beautiful Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set, which I'm sure you've seen around because there's lots and lots of samples floating around with this beautiful stamp set. And I've used this little stamp here today, and also this one here for my greeting. So this is actually a sponge braid background. So what we're going to need to do to start with that is our piece of thick whisper white and sponge brayers. Now these sponge brayers are on page 147 in the catalogue. So for $14 you get 2 handles and you get 4 of these sponge brayer heads. So they're really easy to interchange. They just pop out, a bit like changing a toilet roll actually. And you can see that just the new ones just pop in like that. So it's quite economical having the refills, but I'm actually going to use the one that I've already got in this colour. So what I tend to do is actually use keep the sponge brayers with the colour that I've been using. So I'll keep this one for sort of yellow and orangey colours. You can see there's still quite a bit of the colour coming off that because I've only recently used it. We're also going to be using some Stampin' sponges. So when I get these, I actually cut them usually in 6ths so that they last longer. So you get these in a pack of 3 for $7. Sometimes I use this just if I need to blend the layers a little bit more. So we'll see how we go if I use that today. So we've got, we're starting with this Bumblebee, which is a lovely yellow that I'm really enjoying playing with at the moment. Now, in terms of blending, you can get a really beautiful, perfect result with blending brushes, but I actually really like the ease and the low cost of these sponge brayers, and I find I get a pretty good result with these. So I'm usually quite happy just to create an ombre effect using these. So make sure that you really roll it over and over and don't just go like that, otherwise you'll only be inking up a part of the roller. So that's really important. And the idea is to build up the colour. So I find rather than going just straight, I sort of tend to go on a bit of an angle because that also blends the colours in a little bit. So I start with the, see what happened because I didn't link it all the way through. I'm going to make this end the more solid end. So rolling, 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 and just building up the colour how you want it. So because I'm sort of doing it on a bit of an angle, I find that really helps blend in the colours a little bit more. Blend in the different shades. So I'm pretty happy with that actually, but we'll just do a little bit more down that end. And I suppose there's a few lines there. Now if you were a real perfectionist and you wanted it to be really perfect, what you could do then is come in with your Stampin' sponge. Just checking that's still... Yep. Come in with your stamping sponge and just blend in some of those other areas. So if it's a little bit, few lines there, you can add a little bit more in there. And it's a little bit darker perhaps down this end. So this is sort of just to get things happening at the very end if you want to add a little bit of extra colour or blend in things a little bit better. But I'm pretty happy with that for what I'm wanting to achieve today. So we will close up our ink pad, and it doesn't take very long to dry, so allowing for it to dry. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp this little sunflower stamp. And because I'll be using water, then we are going to be using StazOn, because then it won't react with the water. So I just want to randomly stamp some of the sunflowers over that, and change the direction of your sunflowers, a few off the page, so that you're getting a bit of a random look. Whoops, didn't see that happen, did you? That'll be where our greeting will be going. Okay, so there we go. So I've stamped my sunflower stamp randomly over the top there with StazOn ink. And again, StazOn being an alcohol ink, dries really quickly, so which is good. Excuse me. And this is where the magic happens next. What we're going to do now is, using an aqua painter, we're actually going to paint away some colour. So I sort of like call this reverse watercolouring. But if you actually apply water to the petals, what it does, it actually removes some of that brayered colour, sponge braid colour, and the longer that you leave it, the lighter it will get. So what I've done to create that background is I've actually just gone through all of the petals and I've applied water to them. And you can see already that they're lightening up. Can you hear my kids talking in the background? That's okay, I don't mind. We're real here. It's a Sunday afternoon. We've got hubby watching the V8 supercars, boys chatting away in the lounge, and I'm sitting in the front room. Okay, so see the effect that you get? So it's just a case of going through and painting all of those petals. And as I said, as you leave it, you'll find as you leave it, it gets a little bit lighter, but you can come back in later and take away some more colour. And then overall you will get this effect. So you'll see even there's variation in the amount of colour that's been taken away. These ones are actually quite white, some of these not as white, so that's just the amount of water, and I really like the effect that that gives. And all I've done then to finish my card is mounted this layer on some basic black and then onto a bumblebee card, and stamped my greeting, "Let's Celebrate You," which came from Celebrate Sunflowers, in StazOn again, bit of white card. Just randomly did the that with my paper snips, popped a little black one underneath to highlight, and then some of the braided linen trim, which I absolutely love, just to give it a bit of texture. So super simple card, and a really great effect that you can get. It works on lots of different card samples, and I really like that technique, and I really love the technique of adding colour using the sponge brayers. So I will link to all of the products that I've used today, and I'll also link to the blog post about this card. But I look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions about this technique or about what I've used, and look forward to seeing you back here again soon for my next video. Thank you very much for watching.